Hello guys, this is Gavin here and Alex.
Hey guys, how you doing? You right?
Now welcome to this webinar tonight, how to keep and increase your strength despite getting older. So this has been specifically put together for people over 40, which I assume most of you are. So we're going to go deep into what specifically you need to do to improve your muscle mass and muscle strength as you get older. And as the webinar title suggests, it is possible to successfully increase your muscle strength as you get older. So we're going to talk about that. Now, we're just going to give it another minute just for everyone to successfully join us today. Now, can everyone hear us? If you could please just maybe pop, just say yes in the chat box on, I think it's on the bottom right-hand side of you. If you can just say something. Oh, yes. Right. Yep. So we're getting some yeses there.
Awesome.
Thank you, Penny. Great. Okay. So, oops. Sorry, little technical issues there.
There we go. Back into it.
All right. All right, guys. So let's get started. So Gavin is here today to talk about. He's going to pretty much cover most of the content today. He's the internationally known personal trainer, and I will just do a quick introduction. So who is the presentation for? So it's absolutely must watch for you if you're obviously over 40. And if you're starting to notice that your body isn't quite the same anymore, it's not behaving in the sort of the way it used to behave 20 or 30 years ago. You're starting to feel a little bit stiffer or a little bit slower. If you wonder what's ahead in terms of your body aging, you're starting to see these little changes right now, but you actually wonder what it's going to be like in 10, 20, or 30 years down the track. But sort of if you're starting to worry a little bit about it. If you want to stay functional and independent right into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. Now, we know that people live longer these days, but what about the quality of life? Where you're going to be, you know, when you turn 80. Okay, so this presentation is also great, is a must watch if you suffer from any of these conditions. If you suffer from arthritis, osteoporosis, diabetes, if you have back pain, or if you are overweight or obese. Now, what is sarcopenia? I'm not sure if you ever heard of this word, but basically it's a fancy word for muscle wasting as you get older. So once you reach the peak at roughly sort of your early 30s, you're starting to lose muscle mass usually every year. And if you are quite an inactive person, you tend to lose 3 to 5% of muscle mass per decade of your life. Now, sarcopenia or loss of muscle mass tends to get worse as you get older, and usually it gets a lot faster once you hit 75. Now, have a look at this little diagram on your screen. What you can actually see is basically that's your muscle mass through your lifespan. Okay, so obviously right at the beginning, you have your teenage years, you get stronger. As I said before, you reach your peak at about sort of roughly the age of 30, okay? And then from that point on, so that's your first dotted vertical line. And from there, you have the line sort of branches out into two. So the bottom line is it represents the people who are quite inactive. So they sit in front of TV the whole day. They don't really do much exercise. As you can see, their decline is very rapid. Okay, so they basically start losing a lot of muscle strength, muscle mass. And when they hit this, what we call disability threshold, is when they reach a point where they actually need help with basic day-to-day activities. Now, this is definitely not the point where you want to be, okay? Because this is makes your life pretty miserable. Now, the second line, the top line, represents people who are getting older as well, but these are the people who are trying to stay fit and healthy. They do the right amount of exercise, they eat the right sort of food, but mostly they exercise enough to maintain muscle mass, okay? So their decline is much slower. And this is ideally where you're aiming to be at, okay? So the question is, right now in your life, are you doing enough to stay in this top line rather than the bottom line? And this is what we're here for tonight. We're here to help you preserve muscle mass well into the future. So the result of this muscle loss, why is it important for you? So first of all, you just get weak, okay? So it affects your day-to-day life. It affects your ability to open jars and that kind of thing, but also affects your ability to, climb a flight of stairs. So all these day-to-day sort of things that we take for granted now, but maybe 30 years down the track, they become difficult. We experience the loss of stamina. We experience disability. Older people that are losing muscle strength, that tend to lose balance as well, and that's why they also experienced a higher risk of falls. Now, you might have heard that falling among the elderly it's actually quite dangerous, and it sometimes it kind of from that point when an older person breaks a hip or an arm, it sort of it takes them they spiral down from that point, and their health deteriorates quite severely. Also, people who lose muscle strength, they lose independence, and that's when a lot of people end up in sort of rest homes and retirement homes, having to be looked after by someone else. Yep. So also, this is an interesting statistic, which is actually quite alarming. So in New Zealand right now, according to Statistics New Zealand, 49% of adults over the age of 65 are officially physically disabled. Now compare this to only 7% among the people under the age of 45. So going from under 45 years of age to over 65, the chances of becoming physically disabled pretty much increases 7 times. So again, the big question is, are you doing enough right now to avoid becoming physically disabled? And another disturbing statistic as well is you're more likely to end up in a care home in New Zealand than any other Western country. So I briefly mentioned the hip fractures among the elderly, and this little diagram represents your chances of getting a neck of femur or hip fracture as you get older. As you can see, your likelihood increases significantly as you get older. But saying that, it doesn't mean that it has to be that way. If you do the right things right now, if you strengthen your muscles, it actually helps to reduce the risk of falling and reduces the risk of getting one of these nasty fractures. So can something be done about this? Now, a lot of the research that we've done over the last year into anti-aging, into sort of strengthening and improving the fitness and health for people over 40, we used a lot of studies, a lot of research from around the world. And this is one of the studies that we looked at. So this particular study looked at 100 residents of a nursing home in the USA, and basically they've gone through a 10-week strengthening program. And what they actually found is after this 10-week strengthening program, their strength improved by 113%. So that means that their strength more than doubled, okay? Now we're talking people 72 to 98 years old. So if these people over 72 can achieve this kind of success with their strengthening, imagine what you can do. And this is just another study that they've tested the strengthening and aerobic training program, and they found that among improved strength, they also found that it actually produced improved cognition, visual memory, verbal memory, executive function. So a lot of other benefits of strengthening apart from actually being stronger. All right. And, a lot of us, we sort of tend to forget things, and we worry about, that we're not as cognitively sharp as we used to be. So there's actually some evidence to say that strength training also helps to improve your mental capacity and mental awareness. So there's an extra benefit there for you as well. Now, again, returning to the subject, what can be done about it? People, we mentioned that people tend to get weaker as they get older. Now, it doesn't have to be that way. We'll give you a little example here. Oldest man to climb Mount Everest. He was 80 years old. Can you imagine this? I mean, Mount Everest is the place where a lot of younger people are just too afraid to venture. His name is Yuichiro Miura from Japan. He successfully performed the ascent of Mount Everest at the age of 80. So the altitude of Mount Everest is almost 9 kilometers. Now, a very dangerous thing to do. 1 in 10 people trying to ascend Mount Everest actually die. So this person achieved the unachievable at the age of 80. So he certainly didn't let his muscle weakness or age-related muscle decline affect him too much. And because one of the reasons is because he did a lot of strength training along the way to get him where he got to.
All right, guys, so I'm going to take over now since Gavin. Okay, so looking at some other benefits of strength training. So, you've heard the term use it or lose it is very much a true thing. And you probably understand and probably feel it yourself. If you ever played sports as a young person, you may have said to people and friends and family, oh, I'm not as strong as I used to be. I can't do what I once did. And you need to understand that by not exercising and strength training, you literally are going to lose what you have. So Alex just touched on the strength training can actually benefit your mental and emotional health. And what you find is that when you start exercising, when you start training, you can a myth is actually it's actually a true thing. And anybody that may have gained some significant fitness will probably be a testament to that. It'll help you sleep, and a couple of reasons for it: maintain confidence, and obviously if you lose a little bit of weight, start to look a bit more toned. It'll also improve your self-confidence in the way you look and feel, and all those things tie into that. Obviously, exercise as well is has been proven time and time again to help reduce depression. And you get people that I call like active relaxers and things like that, and they need to exercise to sort of de-stress. And anybody that trains regularly or wherever else or tried it will feel a sense of calmness afterwards, and it does reduce depression. Again, it leads into improving your sense of well-being. And another really good one as well, as Alex has just touched on, it increases your bone density, because as we get older, our bones kind of weaken. And a really extreme version of this is of the astronauts. When they go up in space, there's no gravity. When they come back to Earth, a lot of the times they can't actually walk and their bone density decreases because there's no loading on the muscle, on the bones and muscles, and the bones and muscles adapt to the load that's placed upon them. So therefore, if you don't exercise using strength, your bones just get weak as because they're only doing what they need to do. So when we're looking at strength training recommendations for people over 40, you do kind of need to take a slightly different approach. A lot of over 40s tend to have your niggle here, sore backs and knees, and these are things that may have accumulated over a long period of time. So you can't go off and do your sprints and or playing rugby or anything like you used to do. Your body just isn't up to it anymore, and you do need to start before the exercise to do like a 5 to 7 minute warm up just before you start exercising. And this is a good rule of thumb for anybody anyway, because it gets your joints, your ligaments, it gets the synovial fluid in your joints loose and supple, and it'll prepare you for the exercise you're about to do. Again, rest days are so important. We try and go like a bat out of hell, if you like, and try and do 6 or 7 days exercise. But as we get older, we do need to take time to have rest days. And after all, rest and recovery is a massive part of strength training for anyone, but certainly as you start to get older. And the other thing as well is it's a good idea to be guided by a professional, whether it be a personal trainer or a coach of some description, because if you start pulling workouts off the internet It may be good advice, but it may not be good advice for you. And if you start, let's just say, using a barbell to squat with, if you haven't got the right form and technique, or you're lifting too heavy, you're going to end up getting sore knees, backs, hips, all those sorts of things, shoulders. And you know, it is really beneficial to be guided by a qualified professional. So again, if you're not used to resistance training, you need to start with kind of lightish weights and increase in small increments. And you know, it's all relative to each person. So you couldn't possibly say, you know, if you're 40, you need to use 5 kilo dumbbells for bench press. It's very much dependent on your ability. But a good rule of thumb is to do something called short of failure. So if you're exercising, don't go to failure on every single exercise. You know, when you get to your rep range is 10 to 12 reps, then you need to kind of stop at 12, but have a couple of reps left in the tank. And that's just simply just to avoid muscle soreness and injuries. Often a safe way to start is to use your own body weight. Now, this is kind of relative as well. If you're not strong enough to do a press up, then I wouldn't recommend you doing a full press up. But there are variations of push-ups that you can actually do, whether you use a bench or a wall, even if you need to. But some dumbbells will be appropriate. Assisted chin-ups, or those kind of exercises, these are all compound movements. So they're using more than one joint, more than one muscle. And an assisted chin-up could simply be a lat pull-down machine or resistance bands. Squats can be done with weight or body weight squats, and again, calf raises and stuff like that are really, really important to keep your lower legs nice and strong. It's also essential to include core strengthening exercise. Okay, and we're not talking about tons of sit-ups. You know, solely sit-ups. You need to be working your core in all directions, and your core essentially is all the muscles from the middle of your chest down to the top of your knees, essentially. And it includes your oblique muscles on the side, your abs, your lower back, your glutes as well, and all those things tie in, because if you've got a weak core, then you're not going to be able to do anything. You know, it's like trying to fire analogy of firing a cannon from a canoe. There's nothing there underneath it. You need to have a strong core to do those sorts of things. So that's really important. So these are, I picked 7 exercises which I feel are super, super important to start off with. I'm going to see, these also link to little exercise demonstrations. So I'm going to go through them quickly. So as I just spoken about, a squat is super, super important. As Alex just said, you know, when you're talking about leg strength and hip strength, to be able to do a squat, which is this one in the corner, is so important. You use a squat every single time you get up from the couch, get out of the car, you're using a squat version. So I'm going to just demonstrate to you, if I can, what it looks like. All right, as you can see, this is just a, if you can see the video, just chuck something in the box just there to let me know. And I'd have to squat essentially. And then you got, so obviously when we get older as well, what's really important is our back and postural muscles. You really need to work on the like the thoracic part of your spine and your lats and your rhomboids to strengthen, because we spend a lot of time sitting down. It can cause sort of poor posture, which leads to back pain and everything else. So these rowing type exercises are super, super important too. And again, I'm going to click on the link to see if it'll come through. And this is kind of how it's done. If you can see the video, brilliant. As you can see, the arm comes down, brings the elbow back behind the body and squeezes shoulder blades together. Really, really important again. And go back to that one. Okay, cool. And then we got lunges. So lunges are really important as well. Again, you know, we're focusing on the lower part of our body to help us maintain strength and flexibility there. I'll click on this one for you. Or, oh, not that one. That's more of a dynamic lunge. We won't ask you to do that one. And then you got deadlifts as well. So you may see people in the gym doing deadlifts, Olympic lifters, and you may think it's beyond you, but it's actually a very important exercise, because every time you lift something from the floor, you know, whether it be a child or a dog or can of paint or whatever it is, gardening, you know, this is a proper lifting technique. And if anybody that's done a manual handling course will have been taught a version of the deadlift. And again, I'll just do this video. That's more of a version of a deadlift. That's a Romanian deadlift. That's going to be working on your glutes and hamstrings, and that's equally important as well. As you come down, you've got a military press. So again, you're looking at keeping your core nice and strong as you're lifting above your head. And this could be, just doing household things, whether you're lifting things onto the tops of shelves, and you need to have the core strength and the shoulder strength to be able to do that. Again, we'll demonstrate that one as well. All right, and this is a band version. As you come down, you're pushing against resistance as you go up, keeping your core strong and keeping your shoulders nice and strong. Again, as I said, you're looking at another compound movement for your chest. And again, it's really important to have a strong upper body as well. And this is a fantastic start point. This is essentially a version, if you were to flip that on his side, on his head, it would be a press up, as we just spoken about. And again, you've got a dumbbell bench press there, using the weights nice and slow and controlled, down for a 2 or 3 second count and push up. And get your chest nice and strong. And I haven't got a video for this version here, but this is more like a Superman plank, and it's going to take into account the muscles on your glutes and your hamstrings and your lower back and upper back as well, to really sort of work on the back side of your core, if you like. All right, but we do want to caution you as well. Don't just run out and do these exercises. Okay, make sure that if you go and see a doctor or consult a health professional before you start or continue this exercise, because the last thing you want to do is hurt yourself and end up back in a physio and out of action. That's not what we want at all. So another thing that a lot of people do, as a trainer, I see it all the time. People will do millions of crunches to try and lose weight around your belly. Now, when we go back into the previous slides, Alex talked about you decreasing muscle mass. Now, as you get older, your muscle mass does decrease if you don't actually do resistance training. And that is kind of responsible for the middle-age spread. And people just kind of accept it, when in actual fact, it happens as a consequence of not exercising properly, not using weights to exercise with. And as your muscle decreases, your fat will increase and you end up with a tire. And people then resort to doing sit-ups to lose the belly fat around their body, around their stomach anyway, but it doesn't actually help. You can't spot reduce at all. You can't work on a particular body part to reduce the fat. Your body is predispositioned to store fat, and it's different for everybody, but usually the midsection is the last place for your fat to come off. So if you want to start losing that spare tire, and you need to start losing body fat from your whole body with a full body strengthening and cardiovascular routine. Not only that as well, is that if you continually hammer away with these crunches, you're going to start to get an imbalance between your lower back muscles and your front and the front, which then can cause some back pain as well. But like I said, you can have a strong core without having a flat stomach, and that's really important as well. All right. So we got some foods here. Okay, now there's lots of information about nutrition, and everybody seems to have their own opinion on it. But these are a couple of foods that's going to help your muscles grow, because you do need to increase your muscle mass. We're not talking slabs and slabs of muscle like a bodybuilder, but we do need to increase the muscle you have in your body. And these are just 3 kind of foods that are really, really going to help you maintain your muscle mass and obviously grow some muscle. So you're looking at lean beef or lamb. This, you could extend this to chicken or turkey, fish even as well. They usually have high quality proteins, all the amino acids that we need, which is what protein is made from, and it gives you lots of iron as well. So you're gonna feel a lot more energy as well. And it's really, really important to get adequate amounts of protein in your diet. And a good example that would be just if you held your palm up in front of your face just now, that would be a serving size of protein for anybody that's exercising. Then you got an organic milk, which is really, really good. It's rich in amino acids, glutamine. So glutamine helps with digestion, and it helps with your gut health essentially, which is really important for as you move on. And it also has a lot of omega-3 fatty acids. So in the Western diet, we tend to have a very disproportionate amount of omega-6, which are kind of inflammatory fats, to omega-3s, which are inflammatory fats. So by increasing your omega-3s, it's really, really important to get that balance to prevent inflammation in your body. And if you're somebody that's a vegetarian or a vegan, then beans are absolutely fantastic. They're one of the cheapest forms of protein you can buy. They're packed full of antioxidants, copper, zinc, magnesium. They're full high protein content, fiber, and they really are a superfood in my opinion. And you can do so many things with them as well. You make burgers with them, you can put them in casseroles, you can do what you like with them. But yeah, if you're a vegan, then beans are going to be a pretty much staple in your diet.
Right, so guys, we've given you quite a bit of information over the last half an hour. Sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming to take this all in, and sort of, especially when you're trying to implement it, can be a little bit too much. But I mean, I would hope you're taking notes, and you just try and implement one little thing at a time, and then usually that's the way to go. But if you're still finding this a little bit overwhelming, we may be able to help you. So, sorry, just a second. Yeah, so if you find this a bit overwhelming, and if you still want to get stronger, if you want to have more energy to, you wake up in the morning and you want to feel re-energized, you want to feel like you're ready to tackle the day. If you just want to be healthier and feel great again, or feel like you used to feel 10, 20 years ago, if you want to be biologically younger, and if you want to make everyone wonder why you look so good, then maybe the Growing Younger program that Gavin and I run might be the right choice for you. Okay. Now, it's been specifically developed for people over 40, and it may possibly be suitable for you if you live in the Hawick, Pakuranga, or Botany area. Now, we're going to quickly show you what our current and past clients have been able to achieve thanks to being part of the program. Now, this is Penny. Penny joined our program in January 2017. So pretty much, 15, 16 months ago now. So over that period, she actually managed to lose 39 kilos of weight. Okay, so that's very, very impressive. She's our star client, you could say. She's done really well. She's been very consistent, and hence the results are just amazing. She also reduced her biological age by 8 years. Now, this is according to our measuring method. So as you can see on the picture, it really is quite almost unbelievable what she's been able to achieve in just over a year. So she also gave up smoking, and she is feeling amazing. We also have other success stories. If you maybe want to share.
Yeah. So we couldn't fit them all in, and I just want to talk about biological age a little bit, which is really important, okay, which is where our Growing Younger program comes from. So many people come through our clinic and our gym that are like, let's just say 40 or 50 years old, but when we do these tests, their biological age is really, really high. And it just means that your biological age is not exactly the same as your years on your passport. And if we neglect our health and everything else, we're actually a lot older. We're living in an older body than actual years. Okay, so I just want to touch on that for a second. So we can't obviously, turn back time and give you take years off your passport, but by a really good health and fitness program and something that works, you can reduce your biological age by a significant amount of time, which then obviously leads back into everything we just said about by being healthier, having a better quality of life. And all those sorts of amazing things. So this is one of our successes, Penny, but there are a couple of others which are not on the slides. And we have got case studies if you want to read them. But I can go back and talk about Graham. Graham was one of my clients as well. And he managed to reduce his biological age by 15 years, which was absolutely amazing. He gained strength, fitness, and it was such a good thing for him. And he turned up at the gym in his late 50s, 60s, and made some incredible results. Obviously going into more depth than what we've just spoken about. Then again, you've got other clients of mine. Another female, Robin, did amazingly well. She was married for 4 or 5 years, and she did fantastically as well, and lost I think it was 5 or 6 years off her biological age as well, which is nothing short of amazing. So there's just some case studies there. Okay, so I guess for if you would like those kind of results, okay, to feel stronger, have more energy, and reverse your biological age and be a younger version of yourself, then obviously you need to come and speak to us essentially. And we're gonna basically the first 3 people, we can't do for everyone, but we can do the first 3 people that sort of comment in the chat boxes Okay, and we're going to do a full Growing Younger consultation. So you're going to come into Alex's practice up in on Pakuranga Road there, and he's going to spend an hour with you going through some certain assessments to try and determine your biological age.
And the reason why it's free at this stage is because, I mean, the assessments do take an hour, and basically we're quite a busy practice, and we only have that many free appointments available over the next few weeks. So at this stage we've got 3 slots, so we just want to fill them in. So unfortunately it's like first come first served, so it's 3 at this stage. And so yeah, basically if you want, but as part of this assessment, what we do is we do a strength and flexibility analysis. So we go in depth into your current state of your muscle strength and flexibility. We're also going to do a fat and body composition assessment. So we have what are called electric bioimpedance scales. So we're going to use those to determine your body composition. So not just your weight, but we're actually going to look at what percentage of your body is fat, what percentage of your body is muscle. So that will give us a sort of a pretty good indication of where you are in terms of health. We're also going to do a lifestyle risks questionnaire. So we're basically going to ask you a few questions about your current habits, so we can again determine your biological age based on these on your lifestyle factors as well. Okay, so just if you sign up tonight, it's only going to be $19 for you, just for the whole 60-minute consultation assessment. So at the end of this consultation, we'll be able to tell you your biological age based on our measuring method. Okay, now it's completely pain-free. It's pretty easy to do, so you don't have to be worried about anything. It's completely non-invasive, and we do it in our Howick clinic. So it's most of you stay somewhere around this area, so nice and easy. Now, if you are interested, the other thing is, at the end of this assessment, we'll be able to find out if you are actually suitable for this Growing Younger program that we're running. Now, not everyone is suitable. We had to turn some people away, and one of the main criteria is that you are fully determined, you are completely serious about your health, and you want to do what it takes to become healthier and to become a better, healthier you. So if you want to sign up for this assessment, you can just go to this link. So it's bodyfitphysio.co.nz/discover. It stands for discover you in the youth session. So bodyfitphysio.co.nz/discover. And as I said, the first 3 people to sign up, it just won't let you to sign up past the 3 people. So first come, first served. And if you can't sign up for it, you can just maybe email us, and we'll put you on a waiting list, and we'll get back to you if you couldn't sign up today. Now, time for questions. If you guys have any questions, please pop them into the chat box. Let's see if anyone has any questions.
If you haven't got anything right now, you can obviously email us at a later date. We'll take the time to get back to you.
We'll give you a couple of minutes to think about it. If you have any questions about this session, about this what information that we covered today, just please let us know. No, everyone is pretty happy.
Yeah, absolutely, all good. So like I said, guys, it's well worth your while. Like I said, come in, get a discovery session done, and you learn an awful lot about yourself. And it's a pretty cool assessment to have. And obviously, you'll be able to be on the first step then to getting yourself nice and young and fit again.
All right. Okay, we have a good night. Thanks for coming in tonight, and we'll be doing these webinars every couple of weeks. So look out in your email inbox. We'll send you notifications about the future webinars. All right. Have a good night.